Welcome to Mischief Wargaming. I'm John and this is Fallout Factions. We're back with another fight around Nuka World, again pitting the Rabid against Lucky Joe's Diamondbacks. The game follows the normal rules for setting up a scenario, and ultimately we ended up with a skirmish in the Wild West themed Dry Rock Gulch area, with the Rabid attacking the Diamondbacks. The two gangs are essentially the same as the previous game, except Nyla is absent for the Rabid. As such, they gain some extra caps and have brought along a stim pack. The board is set up with the searchables around the centre. Victory points are gained for causing incapacitations. The most at the end of 4 rounds wins. The Diamondbacks have initiative as Slick Rick moves up and fires his handmade rifle at Otis, remembering the carnage his Predator grenade caused last game. This early on, Otis only increases his harm. Red Rum gets the pack moving as he orders Bud, Horace, Wade, Robbie, Otis and Duke to move up. Tina takes her time to aim her shot at Bud. The shot finds its mark, but doesn't bring the charging raider down. Buckley moves up and makes use of his vantage point, firing at Slick Rick. The hail of gunfire incapacitating the operator, gaining the early lead in victory points. Eddie moves to the edge of his building and fires on the Rabid champion. Otis increases his harm. And is suppressed, gaining fatigue. Robbie fires his pistol at Eddie, who increases his harm. Moon runs up and throws a frag grenade at the bunched up Rabid, hitting Otis, Wade and Robbie. All three increase their harm. Wade fires back at Moon. Doing enough damage to cause an injury. One more and Moon's out. The operator's boss himself gets his gang moving as he orders Echo, Kiki, Husker, Bobby Ray and Vigo to move up. Dakota then moves up. Husker opens fire on Wade, grazing him and increasing his harm. Bud moves in. Echo gets Kiki to join her as they move in together. Red Rum closes the distance. Bobby Ray moves up. Horace gets into position for next turn. Lucky Joe then takes a shot at the Rabid Alpha with his plasma pistol. The shot doesn't do much, only increasing Red Rum's harm. Dakota takes a shot at Vigo, the sawn-off shotgun bringing the Diamondback down, gaining more victory points. The Rabid end the turn, choosing to keep Duke back. Red Rum begins turn 2 by ordering Bud to charge Bobby Ray, while he charges at Kiki. He then brings his Deathclaw gauntlet to bear and attacks her. Kiki manages to fend off the Alpha, only increasing her harm. Moon opens fire on Wade. At this range, his combat shotgun adding a lot of extra dice. The shot is more than enough to incapacitate Wade. I remember the confusion rule this game, and Otis fails, getting fatigue. Robbie is unaffected, while Dakota also gains fatigue. Buckley opens fire on Eddie, and at this point I notice that I've been reading the 1s as 10s, so Eddie only increases his harm for this shot. Buckley fires again thanks to his rifle's fast rule, but again it only grazes the operator. Bobby Ray brawls with Bud, but only manages to increase his harm. Otis throws a Predator grenade, hitting Moon and Echo. Moon avoids the blast, but Echo increases her harm, twice thanks to the grenade's main critical effect. Eddie shoots Buckley, but the shot only grazes the Rabid Raider. Increasing his harm. Dakota fires her shotgun at Eddie, increasing his harm, which in turn causes an injury, incapacitating him. Lucky Joe charges at Red Rum. But only manages to harm him. Robbie moves up and opens fire on Husker. but is only able to graze her. Husker then returns fire, her first shot barely scratching Robbie. Her second shot, however, is more than enough to incapacitate the raider. Horace fires his flamer, hitting Moon, Lucky Joe, Kiki, and his own boss, Red Rum, as collateral. The fire incapacitates Moon, granting 3 victory points rather than 2, as Moon is the champion. Lucky Joe takes an injury, which is pretty lucky compared to Kiki, who is also incapacitated. Lastly, Red Rum takes an injury. No doubt he'll have words to say about that after the game. Echo, Husker and Bobby Ray all pass their confusion rolls, and so are unaffected by the mayhem Horace has just unleashed. To end his turn, Horace rummages through the nearby searchable, finding some caps and some parts. Echo fires at Otis, who suffers an injury. Before getting out of his line of sight. Bud brawls with Bobby Ray, but his sledgehammer being unwieldy means the operator only increases his harm. Tina takes aim and fires at Horace, but misses entirely. Again, Duke is held back, and definitely not because I forgot he was there. Turn 3 begins with Red Rum using his gang's stim pack to remove some harm, before he then brawls with Lucky Joe. The attack only harms the operator's boss. Echo fires her pistol at Horace, causing him to take some harm before charging in, making it difficult for him to use his flamer. Buckley rummages through the searchable, finding some more caps and parts, but also finding a dangerous source of radiation, lowering his endurance by 1 whilst he remains close. Bobby Ray continues their brawl with Bud, this time doing enough damage to incapacitate him. Red Rum continues his fight with Lucky Joe. This time doing enough to cause an injury. Bobby Ray then moves in to help. Otis moves in and throws a Predator grenade, hitting Lucky Joe, Husker and Bobby Ray. The grenade does enough to incapacitate Lucky Joe, further increasing the Rabid's lead. Husker and Bobby Ray increase their harm twice thanks to the grenade's main critical effect. Husker returns fire against Otis, causing another injury and bringing Otis down. Buckley fires at Husker, but at this range the shot is unlucky, meaning it doesn't get any bonus dice. The shot still hits her, and she picks up an injury. Husker moves out of line of sight from the overwatching Buckley. Horace brawls with Echo with a makeshift weapon. It still hits hard enough to incapacitate her. He then moves away from the operators, not wanting to give them a chance to score any victory points. Instead, Tina aims and fires at Buckley. The shot finding its mark and incapacitating the enemy raider. Dakota moves in and fires her shotgun at Husker. At this range, the shot does massive damage and incapacitates the last of the Diamondback champions. Bobby Ray passes their confusion roll. And lastly, I remember Duke's there and he hurries. The last turn looks to be a short one with so few Diamondbacks left. Still, the gang use one of Dry Rock Gulch's special ploys, High Noon Shootout, gaining a bonus for shooting enemies who aren't in cover. Tina takes advantage of this when she aims and fires at Dakota, but the shot only increases her harm. Red Rum brawls with Bobby Ray. His Deathclaw Gauntlet more than a match for them as they're incapacitated. Red Rum then takes a shot at Tina, increasing her harm. Dakota gets Duke to move into position, as both take turns to fire at Tina, but she survives the game. and there's nothing Horus could do other than to just move about. The Rabid pull off a major victory as the skirmish at Dry Rock Gulch has concluded. After the game, the Diamondbacks have a lot of injuries to roll for. Everyone gets a clean bill of health except Husker, who picks up a serious injury, reducing her endurance. Lucky Joe needs to rest up and will be absent from the next game. But Bobby Ray gets it the worst, as that Deathclaw Gauntlet kills him. For the game's quest, they gain some progress in incapacitating enemies at range, but that's about it. For their story actions, they barter in the World of Refreshment, gaining enough caps to recruit a new Psycho with a combat shotgun, Cassidy. Here's how the gang looks after that game.
Broken bones, circuits frying, suddenly a fuse and then
Meanwhile, the Rabid have exerted some control over Dry Rock Gulch, and have found some caps and parts during the game. They also do well when treating the wounded. Everyone gets a clean bill of health, except Buckley, who rolled a lesson learned, giving the crew extra experience. For their story actions, they make use of this experience as Red Rum undergoes some training, increasing his strength. Their other action is to send Duke out to scout the Galactic Zone, gaining a scout point. They make some progress in their quest, and here's how the Rabid look after that game. And that was Fallout Factions. The game ended up being a lot more one-sided than I expected. But some new blood entering the park should mix things up, as vertibirds have been heard in the distance. Otis continues to be an absolute menace with those Predator grenades, but hopefully the extra shotgun for the Diamondbacks will help even things out a little, despite suffering the first death. The next video will be the finale of the Dominion War campaign. The first part of it, anyway. In the meantime, if there's any other game you'd like to see me check out, or have any ideas for current games, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Take care.